Okay guys, we're going to start on introducing you to the different parts of the cell. Alright, so we're going to start with this cell wall, plant cell wall. Remember that plants don't have a what? What do they not have? We have it, it gives us support. What do we not have? Maybe. What do we have that a plant doesn't have? Well, plants do have a cell wall, but why do they have a cell wall and our plant cell, or our cells don't? No, they don't have a nucleus. What gives us structure? What makes us stand up? Our bones, okay? A plant does not have bones. Instead, they have this cell wall right here. See how it's rigid and it's really stern, and it's going to hold the cell shape. Now we have our cell membrane right there. Okay, so our cell wall, only plant cells have a cell wall. It's a rigid structure that gives support to a cell, and it's the outermost structure of the cell. Plants and some algae have cell walls, and they're made of the complex sugar called cellulose. Okay, cellulose is like in grass, so it kind of makes it sharp. The cell walls of plant cells help plants retain their shape. So I just told you that. It's like a skeleton. The cell membrane is more of a protective layer. It only allows certain things to go in and out, kind of like a window screen. Okay? It only allows certain things to go in. Are bugs able to get into a house if you have a screen on your window? No, that's the point. You want to keep those out. You want the fresh air to come in, but you don't want the bugs in. Alright, so here's an example of our plasma membrane. You can see our phospholipids right here with the hydrophobic and hydrophilic parts. Remember, hydrophobic, you have a fear of what? Hydro means water, so you have a fear of water. Good job. Now, hydrophilic. Philic means love, so you have a love of water. Good job. Okay, so our cytoskeletons in our cells. Now they're just an interwoven pattern of proteins. You can see it, the green part, that gives it more structure and support and makes it more 3D. Alright, so our nucleus, what did I say the nucleus of the cell is like? Compared to us, what is it like for us? The nucleus, our brain, very good. So the nucleus controls everything in the cell. It controls what goes in and out, what's made, and it tells all the other parts what to do. Now inside of the whole nucleus you have this core. It's the nucleolus. Okay? Then around the nucleolus you have the DNA, the chromosomes, or the chromatin. It's all of the genetic instructions to tell the cell what it actually is supposed to do. Alright, ribosomes. Now these little dots right here, these are the ribosomes. Do you remember what ribosomes make? Proteins. Ribosomes make proteins, and that's the product of a cell. So like for a factory makes shoes, well a cell makes proteins. And these are the little dots that are in the cell. Now, ER, remember it stands for endoplasmic reticulum. We have two types. What do you think they are? Smooth and rough. We have smooth, because they don't have the little dots on them, then they have the rough. Feels like Braille. Do y'all know what Braille is? Okay, if you're blind, you can't see, can you? So you have to be able to feel the words on the page, and that's Braille. It's little dots. So that's the difference, is smooth and rough. Now, ER is what takes things in throughout the cell. So it's kind of like, do y'all know what the runners are here at school? For the office and the student center, okay? They run things through to my classroom, or they take them back to the student center. They take the things that are supposed to be given to the teachers, the information, and disperse them. Okay, so the ER stays inside of the cell, delivers things inside of the cell. Now this is my favorite part of the cell, the mitochondria. Okay, it is the powerhouse. Okay, it kind of looks like a muscle. This is the mitochondria. So think about your muscle when you think about it. It makes energy. Okay, energy for a cell is ATP. Say that with me. Energy for a cell is
ATP.
ATP. ATP stands for for adenosine triphosphate. Okay, I don't expect you to remember that, but I do want you to remember energy for a cell is what? ATP. Very good. Okay, so the Golgi complex. This one kind of looks like the ER, but there is a distinct difference. Remember, ER takes things throughout the cell. Golgi complex takes things out, so it is going. Golgi has go in there, so it goes outside of the cell. It takes maybe the proteins, it takes it out of the cell. Whatever needs to be delivered outside, the Golgi does that. Alright, so plant cells are a little different. They have two structures that we don't have in our cells. First one is chloroplast. And what do you notice about the color? What color is it? Green. Green. So what do you think chloroplast helps with? Photosynthesis. Very good. Okay, so it helps develop the sugars for photosynthesis and creates energy for the plants without having to intake food. So the chloroplast is where this process goes on. Alright? The vesicles. Vesicles are like little bubbles, or we'll say a purse, okay? It takes things out or around the cell. You can see this looks like just like a bubble. You can see the ribosomes are inside of the bubble. So they're being distributed where they need to go. Now the lysosomes. You know what lysol is? It gets rid of bacteria and waste. So this one's easy to remember. Here's our lysosome. Okay, it takes rid of the waste out of the cell. So anything that does not need to be in there is taken out by the lysosomes. Right, back to our plant cell. Now there's a difference right here. We have vacuoles in our cell. They're tiny. Now, compared to a plant cell, this vacuole is huge. Okay, now a plant can only get water when? Whenever it rains. Whenever it rains, when we water it. Can it just get it whenever it wants to? No. When can we get water? Whenever we want to. Okay, so there's the difference. Now we can take in water whenever we want to, so our vacuoles don't really have to store up too much water. Plants, on the other hand, they have to store water for long periods of time because sometimes it's not going to rain for weeks. So that's why their vacuoles are huge compared to ours. Alright, so you can think of a cell like a factory. The outer part is the membranes, walls of protection. Okay, cytoplasm, everything in there, the stock room. So the entire school inside of it is the stock room, the cytoplasm. The headquarters, the CEO, the president of the company would be the nucleus. He's going to tell you what to do. He tells all his people what to do. DNA, that's the plant. Okay, what are we going to do today? That is the DNA, the instructions. Ribosomes are the product. Like I said, my factory makes shoes, that's the product. It's proteins. The ER is my hallway, my delivery system. Mitochondria is my power source. Remember, energy. And what did I say energy for a cell was? Tyler? Do you remember? Protein. Protein, didn't you? ATP. Good. Alright, Golgi complex. It takes things where? In or out? Well, yeah, out. It could also, no, not in, I'm sorry. It takes it out. Remember, it goes out. Vesicles are like my mail carriers. They take things around. And then lysosomes, what did I say you can remember it by? Lysol. It gets rid of the waste. Alright. Any questions about the cell? Let's do some identification. What is that central part of the cell and it puts out information? Control center. ED? Nucleus. Very good. Okay, what is the power source? What's the organelle? Mitochondria. Alright, what is the product of the cell? What is it making? Protein. Proteins. Very good. Alright, good job. What is that outer part? It protects it. It keeps things from going in and out. Evie? The plasma membrane. Now, we do not have a what, but a plant does. So what? One more thing. What's the other thing that we don't have? Okay, remember, we have a plasma membrane, but remember, we have a skeleton. Plants don't, so what do they need? That rigid structure on the outside, not a cell membrane, but a cell wall. Good job. Any questions? No? Can y'all take a test on this tomorrow?